Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Certified Christian Life Coach training from the College of Christian Professionals and Researchers. I'm Dr. Favor, and I'll be taking us through the module 2 of our training. We'll be talking about the heart of life coaching, active listening, and empathy. The heart of life coaching, active listening, and empathy. We'll be looking at different subtopics, developing active listening skills to understand clients' needs and aspirations, cultivating empathy and compassion in the coaching relationship, and then finally applying biblical principles of understanding and compassion in coaching. So let's dive right into it. First, I would like us to understand that the heart of life coaching lies in active listening and empathy. This can never be overemphasized. You cannot facilitate a meaningful coaching conversation without active listening skills and empathy. You cannot be effective, you cannot be productive as a life coach without learning how to listen actively and how to empathize. So these two are very important. In the Bible, it is mentioned in several places that one of the hallmarks of wisdom is the ability to listen. So you understand that it is very important for us to be able to listen, for us to have the ability to listen as life coaches. If you read Proverbs chapter 18 verse 13, it says, if one gives an answer before he hears, it is his folly and shame. And earlier on in that same chapter, in verse 2, it says, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. So we see, if you're a wise man, you'll be able to listen. You develop the ability to listen. It is very, very important. And then come to think of it, as a life coach, how will you understand what your client is saying? How would you understand where they are coming from? How would you comprehend their needs, their goals, their aspirations without listening attentively and actively to them? And how would you even understand their feelings without empathizing with them? So we understand that in this line, in as a life coach, it is important for us to listen actively to our clients, pay attention to them, and empathize with them. Moving on, we're talking about developing active listening skills to understand clients' needs and aspirations. We have to understand that active listening is basically being fully engaged when another person is talking to you. That is the basic definition. Giving your full attention when another person is talking to you. It is listening with the intention, with the aim to understand what the other person is saying, to understand the other person fully, to know where they are coming from. You're not just listening to give a response, you're not listening to share your own opinion, to give your own ideas or your thoughts. You're listening to actually understand where they are coming from, to understand their perspective. It is making the effort to actually understand what they are saying before giving a response. And in active listening, you end up retaining information. If you're listening to someone passively, you miss out on some important vital information that they are giving to you during the conversation. But if you're listening actively, you'll be able to retain the information and be able to give a response and help them in whatever it is they are going through. Active listening allows you to pick up on very important details. When your client is talking to you, they might not categorically point out different details and specific things to you. But if you're listening actively, you'll be able to pick out very important details as they are talking to you. You won't miss out on anything. And secondly, it allows you identify patterns without your clients mentioning some things to you, establishing patterns for you. If you're listening actively, you'll be able to pick up on some patterns. You'll be able to identify some patterns as they are talking to you. So active listening is very important. It also active listening also allows you to see through emotions. So there are people that might try to mask how they feel, um try to hide some things from you. But if you're listening to them, if you're paying close attention to them, giving them your full attention, and listening actively, you'll be able to see through their emotions. And then finally, active listening allows you to understand the needs and aspirations of your client. Like I mentioned, it is not just you listening to give a response, it is you listening to understand. So if you listen actively, you'll be able to understand their needs, you'll be able to understand their aspirations, and you'll be able to help them better. Moving on, we'll be talking about different ways that you can develop these active listening skills, one of which is verbal active listening skills. These are some of the ways that you can develop your active listening skills. First, under verbal active listening skills is positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement. As a life coach, you should be able to use positive reinforcement to signal attentiveness, like to make your clients understand that you're actually giving them your full attention. I would like you to also keep in mind that active listening involves both the use of verbal skills and non-verbal cues. Verbal skills like paraphrasing, asking questions, clarifying, and then non-verbal cues like nodding, smiling, your gestures, your posture, and all that. You have to show your client using both your verbal skills and your non-verbal cues. You have to show them that you're listening to them and you're interested in what they have to say. So in life coaching, in your sessions, in your conversations, you have to make sure that you apply this to make your clients feel that you're interested in what they have to say, and this will also help them open up more. It also make them feel safe and secure. We'll be talking about the different ways that I can develop active listening skills, one of which is verbal active listening skills, and under this we have positive reinforcement. As a life coach, you have to use positive reinforcement to signal to your client that you're paying attention, that you're listening to them, that they have your 100% attention. Throughout the conversation, you can throw in words like, "Oh, that's very good. Oh, yes, I understand. Wow, that happened. You have to go through that." So things like that, positive reinforcement. Very good. Yes, that is great. Oh, wow. To encourage them to talk more, to open up to you more. You should you should also make sure that you don't overuse it, that you only use it moderately, because in as much as it signals attentiveness, it can also um come off as interruption. It is still an interruption because you're talking as your client is talking. You're saying very good as they're talking. You're saying, oh, that's great. You're saying yes as they're talking. So in as much as you're trying to make them understand that you're paying attention, it is still an interruption. So you have to make sure that you use this positive reinforcement moderately. And then your client might also find it annoying if you use it excessively. So please, moderation is key here. Next is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing, the next verbal active listening skill you must have, you must develop as a life coach, is paraphrasing. This involves restating what your client has said using your own words, restating what they've said using your own words. It shows that you're actively engaged in the conversation and that you're listening to them. It will also help you clarify any misunderstanding, because if they've said something and you're restating it in your own words, paraphrasing, if you say something that they don't mean or they are not trying to communicate, your clients can clarify it, and this will enhance more understanding and make sure that you and your clients are on the same page. The next one is reflecting feelings. Reflecting feelings. You must be able to reflect and mirror the emotions of your clients. This will show that you're empathetic towards what they are going through, you're empathetic towards them, and that you understand what they are saying and where they are coming from. There, you understand what they've been through and what they are going through. So you have to be able to reflect their emotions. You have to be able to mirror their emotions. For example, as they are talking, if you pick that, oh, this person feels frustrated, you can say something like, oh, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated. So without them even telling you, oh, I'm feeling frustrated, I'm frustrated, all this is frustrating, without them saying it. If you pick on, you can pick on it if you're paying attention actively, and you can mirror it to them and tell them, oh, it sounds like you're feeling frustrated. It can help. It will help your clients feel that they are being heard and they are being understood, and to make them feel more feel calmer and more comfortable to open up to you about what exactly is going on. The next one is clarifying questions. As a life coach, you should be able to ask open-ended questions. This will help you clarify what exactly is on the mind of your clients. You clarify their thoughts, their feelings. And open-ended questions are questions that encourages your clients to elaborate more on what it is they are saying, to elaborate more on and give more context to what exactly they are saying. So imagine if you say something like, "Oh, can you tell me more about it? Oh, how do you feel about this situation?" So this is not the answer to this question is not a yes or no, is not maybe. It is the answer to this question will the answer to the question will make your client elaborate more on what exactly it is that they're talking about. So they'll feel that you're interested, you're engaged, and they'll feel more comfortable, and to give you more understanding into the situation. And also, it will give more depth to your conversation, to your sessions. Finally, summarizing. Summarizing just entails um recapping everything that your client has said briefly. Make sure that it's very brief, that you're not repeating everything word for word. You're just summarizing the main points, the gist of the matter. It will help reinforce understanding and to ensure that both of you are on the same page. So if you're summarizing the main points and you make a mistake, and maybe you say something that your client didn't mean, there will be a clarification. So to make sure that both of you, this will make help to make sure that both of you are on the same page. Moving on, to develop active listening skills, the next one we'll be looking at is non-verbal active listening skills. And under this, we have first non-verbal cues. Like I mentioned earlier, non-verbal cues entails things like nodding, maintaining eye contact, smiling, using appropriate facial expressions. So all these things will indicate to your client that you're actually paying attention and you're interested in what they have to say, in what they are saying. So make sure that you use non-verbal cues. Make sure that you use the appropriate facial expressions. You don't make them feel like they are bugging you, or they are disturbing you, or you're bored, or you prefer to be somewhere else. Make sure that your non-verbal cues are encouraging. And then your posture is very, very important. You don't want to sit down slouching on your chair. You don't want to sit as if you're tired or you're uninterested in what they have to say. Make sure that you're sitting slightly forward, you're sitting upright, facing them, leaning slightly forward, and that your legs are also facing them. So this shows that your attention is fully on them. And then next is avoid distractions. Avoid distractions. These are non-verbal cues that we must apply. Avoid distractions. Avoid the use of your phone, your iPad, your tabs, computers. Avoid looking at a clock nearby, looking at your wristwatch, checking the time. Avoid picking your hair or even picking your fingernails. Avoid every form of distractions, as this will send a signal to your client that you're uninterested or you prefer to be somewhere else, and this will make them hold back on whatever it is that they want to communicate with you in the first place. So we should keep that in mind. Next is to read in between the lines. Read in between the lines. As a life coach, you should be able to read in between the lines. Research over time has shown that about 65% of people's communication is not even uttered. Their communication is beyond the words that they speak. It is from their body language, their what they are not saying, their non-verbal cues. So you must be able to read in between the lines. For example, if your client is talking too fast, it can be a sign that, oh, they are anxious, they're afraid of something, or the subject matter is not one that makes them comfortable, it makes them agitated. And if they are talking too slow, you can pick the fact that, oh, your client might be tired, or they are carefully choosing their words, maybe they're trying to hide something, trying to mask something. So all these are non-verbal cues that you can pick. So you should be able to read in between the lines beyond what your client is saying. You should be able to pick what they are not saying. And then always keep in mind that you should not overanalyze their body language. Yes, you should pick their body language, their non-verbal cues, but please do not overanalyze. Oh, oh, see the way he's sitting, oh, see the way he's talking. This, make sure that you do everything moderately, you don't overanalyze, because that will even give a wrong understanding of the situation. Next is the use of open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. So you have to encourage um your client to talk more using open-ended questions. Use You can use words like sentences like, how do you feel about your current job? How do you feel about the current situation? Is there anything you think you can do differently? What are your thoughts on the new offer? So these are open-ended questions. Like I mentioned before, is not the answer to these questions is not yes, is not no, is not maybe. The answer to these questions the answer to the questions is an explanation, is detail. It's to give more context to the subject matter. So we should be able to use this as life coaches. And then close-ended questions, on the other hand, are designed to elicit specific one word or short answers. Specific one word, often one word or short answers. For example of close-ended questions can be, do you enjoy your job? Would you like to take the offer? Oh, is that what you want? The answers to this question, imagine if I say, is that what you want? Is it a yes or no answer? If I say, would you like to take the offer? Is it a yes or no? So it doesn't give room for your client to explain what is on their mind, what is on their heart, to elaborate more, to give more context. So as we should make sure that we don't overuse close-ended questions, because it can just make the conversation feel like an interrogation. So imagine if you're asking questions and your client is just saying yes, no, maybe. Everything will just be boring and you have no headway. Everything will just seem like an interrogation, because your client is just answering your question. So make sure that there is a healthy mix of the two. You don't overuse it. Then next we'll be talking about cultivating empathy and compassion in the coaching relationship. Cultivating empathy and compassion in the coaching relationship. Merriam-Webster says, with empathy, you can imagine or understand how someone might feel without necessarily having those feelings yourself. So empathy, to define it, it is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It involves actively listening to your client, understanding their perspective, acknowledging their emotions, and responding in a way that shows you really care about them as individuals, that you're not just there to while away time, that you really truly care about them. So that is what empathy involves. Compassion, on the other hand, simply means the ability to show kindness and understanding towards others, especially in times of difficulty or suffering. So we must make sure that we use this to demonstrate to our clients that we care about them, that we are ready to listen to them, ready to help them, and this will create a safe and supportive environment for your clients to explore their thoughts, to explore their emotions and their goals, to open up to you, to feel comfortable and be honest with you. So how can we demonstrate empathy and compassion? First is to listen actively. To listen actively. One of the most important ways to demonstrate empathy and compassion is active listening. This cannot be overemphasized. We've been talking about this all the active listening. And as we've discussed already, paying close attention to their words is very important. To the tone of their voice is very important. Their paying attention to their body language, to their emotions is very important. You must listen to them actively. Make sure that you're taking note of everything that they are doing, everything that they are saying, their body language, their tone of voice, everything. Show that you're fully present and are engaged in the conversation. Be present and strive to understand their thoughts, try to understand their feelings, their experiences without interruption. Again, without interruption, just pay attention to them. And then next, understand their perspective. This is another way to demonstrate empathy and compassion. Understand their perspective, process what your client is saying, understand where they are coming from, understand what they've been through, consider their backgrounds, put all these into consideration, the things they've been through, their perspective, their values, their insights, everything that they are saying, put everything into consideration, what they've been through, their backgrounds, where they grew up, their job, put everything into consideration, because this will help you to understand them better, because everyone is unique and everyone is different. This will help you be able to customize the help that they need, because like I said, we are all different and we need different things. So each client has their own need. So it's when you pay attention to them and put their specific background, values, beliefs into consideration, that is the only way you can know the exact help that you can give them. Next is be 100% non-judgmental. Be 100% non-judgmental. So as a life coach, as a human being, this can be difficult, because I mean, we have biases, we have prejudices, we've been exposed to different things that have formed our opinions and all that. But then, as a life coach, always remember that every point in time in your session, you must be 100% non-judgmental, because it's important to it is this is important because you don't want to make your clients feel that they are being criticized or judged. So you must make sure that you put your own biases aside, you put your preconceptions aside, and you allow them to speak without the fear of being judged or criticized. Make them feel safe and secure. Make them comfortable enough to open up to you. Don't bring in your own opinions, your preconceptions, your ideas, and all that. Just put them aside. Even if they have aspirations, even if they have goals or approaches that are different from your Christian character, that are different from the Christian character, that are different from biblical principles, biblical standards. Just listen to them and walk them through the process with thought-provoking questions. You can ask them questions that will lead them to making an alternative decision. You should not use words like, maybe they say something, you should not use words like, isn't that a sin? Don't you know that is wrong? Or you say something like, do you think that is right? So this will just make them close up to you and not open up anymore. So make sure that you don't use words like this. These are called close-ended judgmental questions. So make sure you don't use questions like that. Rather, you can just ask them, what other option do you have? What else do you think you can do about this matter? And then, as they are trying to make an alternative, to say something else, to give another option, you can just introduce scripture to them, and this will help them sift through all the options that they have available, to all the other alternatives that they have, rather than just attacking them. So finally, we'll be looking at biblical principles of understanding and compassion in coaching. Biblical principles of understanding and compassion in coaching. And the first we'll be looking at is love. If we read Matthew chapter 22, verse 37 to 39, it says, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. This love, we should understand that this love that Jesus is talking about here is beyond a feeling, is not a feeling. This love is talking about here is a commitment to the well-being of others. And we have to understand that love is foundational in life coaching. You cannot remove love from life coaching, because we are dealing with human beings. So we must have this commitment to be interested in the well-being of others as life coaches. Everything we do, including showing compassion, including showing empathy, should flow from this place of love. All the help we are rendering to our clients should flow from this place of love. So we must understand that this is one biblical principle that is very, very important. In fact, it is key. It is foundational as far as life coaching is concerned, as far as helping your client is concerned. Make sure that love is a principle that you imbibe. Next is wisdom. Proverbs chapter 4 verse 7 says, Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all your getting, get understanding. As a life coach, it is a sign of wisdom when you seek to understand people's needs, their aspirations, and the best ways to help them achieve their goals. So it is wisdom that you can use to do this. You cannot take wisdom out of the equation. You have to apply wisdom in understanding what they are saying, understanding their needs, and to even understand how to help them. And then on that, like I mentioned earlier, we're all unique. We all have different situations. Everyone has what they are dealing with and what they need help in. And so we have to understand that each situation requires a different approach, and it is only wisdom that can help you know and understand and discern the right path for each client, to discern the right solution for each client. It is only wisdom that can help you. So wisdom is very, very important as far as life coaching is concerned. Remember, we're still talking about the biblical principles of understanding and compassion in in coaching. Next, we'll be talking about the visionary mindset. Having a visionary mindset cannot be overemphasized. It is very, very important as far as life coaching is concerned. It means understanding your purpose and how it aligns with helping others. If you read 1 Corinthians 9 verse 22, it says, I have become all things to all people, so that by all possible means I might have some. So we understand that this mindset helps you tailor your approach to each client's needs, meeting them where they are and guiding them towards their goal. So you have to understand your purpose, understand your calling, understand what exactly it is you're doing, so that you'll be able to help others. If you don't understand your purpose and why you're doing what you're doing, you cannot be well aligned to help others. So the first thing is for you to have a visionary mindset. Know why you're doing what you're doing. Understand your vision, and so that you can be able to help others. Then next is hope. Hope. Romans chapter 15 verse 13, it says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. As a life coach, you are an agent of hope. Please never forget that. In every session, in every conversation, in everything you're doing as a life coach, always remember with every client that you are an agent of hope. So when people come to you turned down, when people come to you without hope, understand that you're there to inspire hope in them. You should not be the one tearing down the remaining hope they have. You should not be the one depleting the hope they have left inside of them. Instead, you should inspire hope in them, no matter how torn they are, no matter how uninspired they are, or how hopeless they feel or the situation is. You should inspire hope in them. You are an agent of hope. Never forget that. And your goal should be to inspire hope in your clients, to believe in themselves against all odds, and trust in their ability through God to overcome challenges and achieve their goals. So you're there to help them believe in themselves. You're there to inspire hope in them. You're there to help them trust in their ability, so that they will be able to overcome challenges and achieve their goals through God. And finally, encouragement. Hebrews 3 verse 13, it says, encourage one another daily, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. So being a life coach, you are an encourager. It is your job, it is your duty to encourage your clients. It is part of the things you're supposed to do. So when a client comes to you, you should be looking for ways to encourage them, to build them up. Being an encourager is a priceless attribute in life coaching. You want to build up your clients, you want to inspire them, you don't want to tear them down, you don't want to demotivate them. Rather, you want to build them up, to fire them up, to motivate them to try different things, try new things, to take strides and make decisions. And then through the only way you can do this to build them up, to build up your clients, you can do this through active listening, through compassionate guidance. You listen to them, and then you instill in them the belief that they can actually achieve their goals. So this is very, very important. Never forget you're an encourager. So as you're listening to them, as you're being compassionate towards them, understand that you're there to encourage them to achieve their goals. So ultimately, applying all these biblical principles of understanding and compassion in your coaching practice, applying love, visionary mindset, wisdom, hope, encouragement, applying all this will help you create a transformative and empowering experience for your clients. Never forget that. I'm glad that you've come this far in this training. So understand that through active listening, through empathy, and through commitment to service, you can help your clients navigate their challenges, discover their strengths, and move towards their goals with confidence and grace. And without a doubt, I am sure that without a doubt, you become a powerful force for positive change in the lives of those you coach. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you are blessed. I hope you learned a lot. Please let us know where you're listening from and let us also know what you've learned so far in this training. God bless you. Remain blessed. Bye.